Hello. What's up, guys? We're on site, San Antonio, Texas, for the Alamo Bowl emergency podcast. I'm Ryland. I'm one host. Jake is not here today for the Buffalo Breakdown podcast. We have our good friend and Ralphie Report legend, Jack Barsh, with us. Legacy Ralphie Report writer here. We're going to talk some football. That's the plan right now. Is we're going to talk some football. We're going to talk the Alamo Bowl, break some stuff down, have some fun. How you doing, Jack?
I'm good. I feel suddenly very old, but thank you for calling me a legacy and a legend. I need to establish a Ralphie Report scholarship in my honor, like a true old guy. But I'm just glad to see that my plan worked, and I was able to eventually supersede Jake. It's been my plan all along. A lot of machinations in place. Really Machiavellian, but I'm glad I finally took his spot. So watch your ass, Jake. Good luck in the back.
He's not coming back. He's kicked out. He's kicked out. Just kidding, Jake. You can come back. I forgive you for spending holidays with your family. Okay. So, yeah, that's fair. Football never sleeps, brother. Football never sleeps. Yeah. Okay. Let's get into this. Colorado, 3.5-point favorites. This is big game. I don't think either team have any opt-outs. Travis Hunter's going to play. Shedeur Sanders going to play. All of Colorado seniors are going to play. Will Shepard, LeJontay Wester's going to play. Cam Silman-Craig is going to play. Shiloh's going to play. BJ Green's going to play.
Really?
Green.
Okay.
Yep, that's the plan. Is I think there are no opt-outs as far as we know.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Everyone, and BYU doesn't have any opt-outs either. The only player that Colorado will not have of note for this Alamo Bowl will be Nikhai Hill-Green, who entered the transfer portal and committed to Alabama earlier this week. How are you feeling about the Nikhai Hill-Green hole? Because that's a hard hole to plug at linebacker, especially with the younger core we have.
Yeah, against BYU, that's going to be hard. But in terms of worst case scenario, if somehow the only senior or draft eligible player that does not play in this game is Nikhai Hill-Green, that is so acceptable. So of course I like watching him play, and I prefer he's playing for CU. But given the amount of potential opt-outs that CU seems to not have, whatever. If you lose one, you lose one. That's totally fine by me. The fact that West is playing and Horn is playing and Shepard's playing is insane, let alone Travis and Shedeur. And I know that Amari McNeil is hurt and not playing, which is, I think, a bigger deal probably. But, speaking of the culture that apparently was very bad until people decided it was very good, this seems to be a sign of a really good culture for CU. If Nikhai Hill-Green is the only guy who is ending up not playing for CU. And frankly, I don't even think it's because he doesn't want to. I think it's just because the academic calendar meant that he had to, if he was going to transfer out, he had to transfer out because the semester ended. So, it sucks. I love watching him play. But all in all, play ball, man. Both teams are in.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that he transferred. I didn't realize he had eligibility left, first of all.
Neither did I.
And second of all, I thought that he would probably just declare.
Yep.
He'd be a day 3 pick, but I think he'd get picked, maybe 6th, 7th round, for sure. I was expecting, to not have him be here, but not in this capacity. And I will preface by saying there's a possibility that players opt out. We just don't know it yet. But Dion has been very adamant that Shedeur and Travis are not opt-outs. Maybe a couple guys do opt out, but I'm assuming that every single player probably wants to up their draft stock. Back from my tangent on opt-outs, who do you think will be filling in for Nikhai Hill-Green?
Well, that's a good question. Jalen Wester. I think it has to be
Jalen Wester is who I chatted with a couple other media members, and Jalen Wester we think will be the guy that will be filling in there. It just makes the most sense. So he will probably be the guy. Other potential options will be JB, Jeremiah Brown, who was a redshirt this year. Defensive coordinator Robert Livingston said that redshirts will play, quote-unquote, situationally in this game, and this is certainly a situation in which you will probably need your redshirts to play. Another option would be Keaton Wade. But
yeah, from what we've seen, I hope that's not the option we go with.
But you might not have other choices, but I think Jalen Wester will be the answer to that question. Do you feel good about Wester playing there?
No, not necessarily, based on what we've seen. But you got to play what you got. I think, to me, what would be sweet is you just rock with Bentley and then bring in Shiloh in the box, depending on how BYU goes. I think BYU is unfortunately too big to do that all the time. But that setup would be the best solution in my mind, because Shiloh definitely has physicality and he can read the game. He's obviously a little bit smaller, but yeah, I think zooming out a little bit, I don't think that BYU's offense versus CU's defense is going to be the matchup that determines the Alamo Bowl. So, I think Wester in there is great. Get him some run. I would love to see some younger guys in there too. I just don't think that change is what's going to really affect the outcome of this game. I think more than anything, it's going to be CU's offense versus BYU's defense.
Yeah, and I want to get into that a bit more too. Like, obviously, obviously for CU, the offense is quite explosive. But BYU's defense is, and pardon me for using this term, really sneaky good at like everything. Yeah. What matchups are you specifically looking at in that scenario?
Yeah, no, you're right. They're like lunch pail. They're sneaky good. They're the first guys in, last guys out. BYU's defense,
real gym rats
for sure. Surprising burst. Anything else you want to say there? No, man. I think it's a weird game. We've talked about this before because it's just a 10th conference game as a bowl, which is it sucks some of the excitement out. I should be more excited about CU's third bowl in the last 10 years and really the second bowl, unless you want to count the COVID one. But they're all been the Alamo Bowl, for some reason there's just a lot of newness that's out of this matchup that just makes it feel like we're doing another conference game. Which means that I've just been like, I haven't been digging as I haven't been treating this matchup with the reverence it probably deserves. So, long story short, BYU's defense is sneaky good at everything, to borrow your point, but that's BYU's whole team, and I think Jay Hill is a disciple of Whittingham, and the defense is going to look pretty similar to what we've seen from Utah defenses, where there are some stout guys up front, and there are some really lanky guys in the secondary, and they're going to be very physical back there. They're going to dare the refs to throw any flags. They're going to cover up space in the open field. Everyone is. So in terms of stars, like, I'm going to be annoying and say that their star player on defense is team tackling. Like, there's just not a lot of room anywhere on BYU. People have found it. Like, they've been shaky, obviously. ASU, like, demolished them with Cam Scatteraboo. We don't have Cam Scatteraboo, right? So we're going to have to demolish them with our speed. And it's hard because they cover up ground quick. Worked out against Utah this year, but I think if CU's offense is actually full bore and they all are putting in full effort, we'll definitely find some room. But BYU's defense scares me because they are so sound.
Yeah, and another thing about the BYU defense, which I didn't even necessarily realize until I was looking at stats in the run-up to the game, is they lead the Big 12 in interceptions, and they rank third nationally. They have 20 picks on the year. So they're kind of ball hawking. And Jay Hill defense they do a really good job at disguising the zone coverage and mixing that in and just letting the safeties jump balls. So that's going to be something to look out for with Shedeur. Obviously, Shedeur turnovers are not something that he's been necessarily prone to. I think he has 8 picks on the year. Granted, some of them have been pretty ugly, but the accuracy and the coverage recognition for him is something is certainly a strength. Not super concerned about that, but that's definitely something to look at. Another thing that I think is kind of important to note is that Tyler Batty is kind of a monster. First team all Big 12 on defensive edge. They have him usually camped up on the right side of the defense, which would have him going up against Jordan Seaton if they're sending him. Because they drop him back into coverage, actually, surprisingly often. But that's a fun matchup, Tyler Batty, Jordan Seaton. I don't think that Jordan Seaton has played a defensive end that's as good and athletic as Tyler Batty this season. You could make an argument for Dante Corleone.
Well, he's not an end.
No, you're right, actually. But, it's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. I
think I would go. I mean, Kansas State's defensive line is really solid. They had some dudes there. But in terms of like pure individual dominance, you'd probably have to go back to Nebraska's Ty Robinson as an edge that just demolished CU. That was a different CU team, but that's probably where I'd start. Is Ty Robinson really destroyed CU's offensive line? Different right tackle, different all that stuff. But Batty has that potential where he can absolutely wreck, especially with Phillip Houston out. Like, CU did an okay job getting to the finish without him, but this is not a full-strength CU offensive line that he's going against.
Yeah, and that's certainly concerning. I was kind of surprised. If you watch them, they don't really have any problems getting to the backfield, but they rank last in the Big 12 for sacks. I think they only have like 16 or something total sacks on the year, and we have like 37 or something crazy. So they're not especially apt at getting to the quarterback, which is something that definitely plays into our advantage with how much we pass the ball. I guess is there anything else on the defense that you wanna dive into here?
BYU's defense?
Just our offense against BYU defense, because there's I feel like quite a lot here.
So let's make sure we hit the SEO points here too. It's been fun and interesting that Juju Lewis has joined the team for bowl game workouts, and he's been on the scout team as Jake Retzlaff, which is awesome. That's really cool when we can pull that off, and it's been really fun to see Shedeur and Juju on the same field. All of that to say, like, I don't think we're going to see a huge schematic difference on offense. I don't think Shermer's going to do anything special for this game. I think it's going to run the same offense that Shedeur wants to run, and we've both mentioned this, like, how many of his throws are specifically to make sure that Jimmy Horn and Will Sheppard get NFL tape? I think it's going to be at least 50% of these throws, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that that's going to be a secret to BYU either. I also am dubious to see how well they can stop that, because the nice thing about Shedeur and Sheppard this year is when they want to, they're pretty unstoppable. And the nice thing about Horn and Shedeur this year is when he wants to, he's faster than everyone else in the field. So, I think it's kind of going to be a known force versus a movable object, I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game across the board. Total's 54.5. I'm going to hit the over on that because I don't think that BYU's defense is going to be able to stop CU that much.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I do think that this is going to be – the mission tomorrow is going to be feed Jimmy. That's number one objective, is just get tape for Jimmy Horn. It's very known. That's not a secret. Deion has basically – said it very publicly in multiple press conferences, is they want to get Jimmy tape so he gets drafted. And I don't think that there's going to be too much resistance, because if you allocate too many resources to stopping Jimmy, LeJounte is going to be open across the middle, or Travis is just going to burn somebody. So that's the nice thing about having such a deep receiving core. Oh, touchdown.
Sorry, I don't know what just happened.
No,
Vanderbilt just
you're
popped
good.
onto my screen.
You know what? It
Diego
happened.
Pavia jump pass. So there you go.
What? Okay,
Yep.
Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt might be the people's team. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry. I was just trying to look at the Bulls that are on today, and that just made a bunch of sound. So that was a touchdown.
It's okay. Touchdown, Diego Pavia. I'm good. I'm just giving you shit.
I totally should have just said like, oh, it's my new soundboard. I don't know
Like,
why I didn't do that.
You're like
God damn it.
Oh, that would be fun. We need a soundboard. We need a soundboard going forward. That might be something I invest in. Okay, I forgot what I was saying, but a point that I wanted to make was not only is Juju on the scout team for this week, so is Caden Salter. The QB competition maybe has already even started. Might already be in full swing. But that's really fun, and it's really cool to get the guys from next year already here. And give them the opportunity to work with Shedeur at least for a little bit of time, kind of get that experience, kind of working with one of the best quarterbacks in CU history is pretty good. Not going to lie. Obviously, running the ball, I'm expecting that to be an uphill battle.
Yep.
To put it lightly.
Yep.
I don't know if they'll even try. And I checked out the depth chart, which isn't super up to date. It's over a week old. But Isaiah Gustave is listed as injured still on that. So we'll have to see. But without Isaiah Gustave, it's going to be even more concerning. It would be just Hayden and Micah trying to punch them in the teeth. That's an ongoing situation. Gosh, anything else that I'm forgetting?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think of any redshirt freshmen we're expecting to see because they are going to play, like you said.
Yes.
I don't have any names that are coming up, which is annoying because I should. But I'm expecting to see some of those freshmen. That's always some of the more exciting stuff about bowl games is seeing the future there. Amari Miller supposedly is back too, which will be exciting as well. The one that coming to mind is Cam McKell. Do we know if he's playing?
I don't think so. I think he's still injured.
Okay.
So I wouldn't expect Cam McKell. I could be totally wrong. I'm not an oracle and I don't know everything.
Right.
That's the thing about these Deion Sanders teams is the freshmen being brought in are so few in quantity, and that's something that they've bragged about a lot too, is if they're bringing in freshmen, the freshmen are going to play immediately.
Yep.
So like guys like Draylon Miller will be playing, and then some of the freshmen that maybe would be playing that aren't in this scenario are either like Cordell Russell, guys that transferred out, or Cam McKell, who are injured. So we'll have to see about that, but I'm not super expecting to see any redshirt freshmen playing. The one that I would be excited about would be Keaton Wade, but he has outplayed his redshirt, as Deion said, as we know, because he played in that Oklahoma State game and the Kansas game. So
I'm wondering if there's like some offensive linemen there, like Zach Owens might be having a red shirt that we might see in there.
Maybe.
There's some other younger guys like that guy that's from Egypt that I'm forgetting the name. Cardell Thomas from LSU. Like some of those guys might be rotated in that we haven't seen all year. On defense, I think the only place we'd see something like that is probably defensive back, like someone like Ben Boozy. Might pop in from time to time, but I don't know. And has anyone gotten a definitive answer? Does Preston Hodge have eligibility left, and is he playing in this game?
Give me approximately 1 minute. I'm gonna check the depth chart, and let you know. But I think Preston Hodge does have eligibility, and it's a matter of injury. Let me look at nickel.
I'll vamp for time.
No, I think it's so on the depth chart. Hodge is listed as 2, and he's in italics, which means he's injured. So they have Carter Stoutmeyer listed.
Gotcha.
As the one, but that depth chart is from December 18th.
Okay.
They're being pretty secretive. They're taking this very seriously.
Good.
That's something that I've taken away from this bowl game is like they're not playing around and they want to win this game. Like pretty much that's something that Dion got asked about today is somebody was kind of surprised at how seriously they were taking this game because it's a non-college football playoff bowl. You're not really playing for anything but pride. And he said, well, why wouldn't I take it seriously? No one expected us to be here. No one expected BYU to be here. Everyone doubted them, and here they are. They have another game of football left. I think another big thing that's playing a factor into this is that this is his last game with his 2 kids, 3 kids basically with Travis. And that's a very big deal. That's something that he's definitely emotional about. He said he's emotional about it. He said he's trying not to think about it. But it's serious business here, and they're not fucking around. Another thing that's really awesome that I just tweeted about is this city has been invaded by Colorado fans. Completely invaded.
It's looking pretty good.
Looking very
beat the
good.
Mormons?
Oh, I would say we outnumber BYU fans at least 3-1. At least.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Look at us. Here come the assholes, man.
Just to put it into perspective, I'm closer to the BYU hotel. So my family, obviously huge CU fans, they're season ticket holders. And they weren't able to make it out because they're lazy and didn't want to travel because it was too much work. So boo to them. But I went to go try to get them merch in the BYU hotel, and they have boxes upon boxes of merch, of BYU merch, in the BYU hotel, and they are packing up all of the CU merch to take to the CU hotel because they're selling out so fast.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I got a shirt, but my family couldn't get shirts because they had no shirts below the sizes of extra large and extra large. So,
wow,
we're running deep here in San Antonio. I'm proud of us. Best fan base in college football, bar none. It's also really funny. It's all the CU fans are walking around with drinks and having fun, and I've seen, and all the BYU fans are walking around with Powerade. So
hell yeah,
I'm excited for all the new words that we're going to teach the BYU fans this weekend.
Nothing they haven't heard before, I'm sure. There's actually a weird camaraderie, I think. I don't know about camaraderie, but I actually think there's not that much animosity between these 2 schools. And both coaches have kind of an old school attitude about it, which I appreciate. Like you said, almost no opt-outs on the BYU side either. I don't know if you saw what Jake Retzlaff said. If Shedeur Sanders said something like this, we would never hear the end of it. But Jake Retzlaff said in press availability this week that this is the People's Big 12 Championship. Which I can get down with, man. I can get down with that branding. Once again, if CU said that, it would not go as smoothly. But I'm glad that he said it because, that's a fun way to look at it. It's the People's Big 12 Champs.
I actually asked them that today.
That was you?
So Shedeur or somebody. I wasn't here yesterday because I had travel issues. But today, that quote from Retzlaff went pretty viral. And we had a joint presser with Satake and Dion today, and I asked if it kind of feels like this game means more because it's a conference game, and these foes will be familiar, and if it kind of feels like the People's Big 12 championship, and Dion wanted nothing to do with it, which is smart. Satake answered.
He saw your trap.
And they shut it down, but they basically they said that this is a big game. They didn't lean into it, but I felt like it was a fun question. But yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm just glad that they're both, it seems like both fan bases responded well to that, and we've seen across the country that it feels like bowl games have taken a dip because of obvious reasons, I guess. So I'm glad that both of these fan bases are like, well, it's fun for us, because that's how it should be. So, it seems like it's a fun environment down in San Antonio, which is good, man. That's good. we're back. This is us starting to be back.
I know, dude. I'm hoping, and we for sure don't have time to get into portal stuff right now, because we have a hard.
I will take you on a journey. I will take you on a journey.
No, I know. Well, we'll do an entire portal episode probably next week. But
thank you, please. Okay,
future
good.
looks very, very bright. Is what I'm saying. I'm very pleased with the guys who came in the first portal period. We do only have 25 minutes. Do we want to do predictions and player of the game stuff?
Yeah, man.
Or is there stuff we didn't tackle here?
Well, let's get into it. I am gonna, I guess, lean into my legend status, and provide something that neither you or Jake can provide, because you quote unquote value your time and quote unquote have a life. But this is an interesting bowl matchup because it has a lot of history, which doesn't usually happen with bowl matchups. As we might know, BYU and Colorado were in the same conference for about 50 years. It just happens to be the wrong 50 years for anyone to care. But yeah, BYU and Colorado are both in the RMAC from the early 1900s, I think I want to say 1911, to about 1950. I can get you exact dates because I'm just going off the dome here. But obviously, CU played them a bunch, long term, and they hold a pretty dominant season series lead. Just overall series lead. But part of that, once again, is because CU was one of the few programs ever to have a conference championship in every decade of existence of the program. The one exception now being the 2010s. And part of that's because the RMAC was horrible. The RMAC was not a good thing. And CU has played BYU 12 times, so not nothing. But they took about a 40-year break between World War II and the 80s. As you might expect, BYU destroyed them in the 80s. So just some brief BYU history. They were pretty horrible as a football program, like many regional programs were for a long time. There's a man named Lavelle Edwards that completely revitalized their entire thing. So starting in the 80s, Lavelle Edwards went to BYU and basically did basketball on grass stuff, where he just made them real fast. Like he innovated offense. He made it real easy. Their current offensive coordinator was one of the recipients of that, Ty Detmer. Ty Detmer won the Heisman as a player playing basketball on grass. They threw the ball around the yard in a way that not a lot of people did until Mike Leach came around about 15 years later. And they defined a whole generation of football coaching under Lavelle Edwards. So Mike Leach being one of those people as a former LDS member himself. So there's another trivia thing. Yeah, really weird thing like that, kind of like K-State, where they're based off of one coach that built the whole thing, and they've kept it running since then. Lavelle Edwards Stadium is the name of the stadium for a reason. Jim McMahon went there. He was not a practicing Mormon as their quarterback and would have to drive down to Logan to party. Now, also, Jake Retzlaff, also not a practicing Mormon, is their starting quarterback. I don't know, man. I just threw out a bunch of BYU facts. Pretty interesting historical matchup. Go ahead.
I got more. Okay,
Go ahead.
So shout out, not really shout out, but Sark was the quarterback when they won the national championship. Last G5 team to win the national championship.
In what year again? 84, right?
84. Yep.
A very contested national champion.
I know. WAC team winning the national championship. And
another thing we have in common, because they split it, just like us.
Yep. Another thing that we were actually talking about earlier today that we just realized we should have thought of this earlier because it would have been a killer story. This is the Detmer Bowl. Kai Detmer, BYU, Coy Detmer, CU.
Yep.
Coy Detmer still holds the record for most passing yards in a bowl game for the Buffaloes. That's not going to last for is going to end in about 26 hours.
Yep.
But he does, and they're both from San Antonio, too. So there's even extra.
Both Detmer family members, right?
They are.
Yeah.
They're both from San Antonio.
That makes sense. They're from the same place, right?
They're both from there. Yes.
That makes sense to me.
The Detmers are from San Antonio.
Yeah.
So, okay, you got me there. Yeah, and
but that is the connector. Yeah.
they talked about that actually today at the press conference too. Was that the CU offense is kind of something similar to what Lavelle Edwards pioneered, which is kind of cool. It's gonna be a very explosive. There's gonna be a lot of fireworks, which should live up to the Lavelle Edwards name. Yeah, I guess predictions, score prediction, or unless you have more trivia, I'm down to do more trivia.
No, man, I just went rapid fire. I had no structure for that, as you could probably tell. I was just flying through whatever came into my head with BYU, man. So,
yeah,
no, I have nothing else. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Do you want to go? I'll let you go. So I don't steal yours.
Thank you. I'm gonna enter my memory palace here, and deja vu it. Just go. Do a game script. So, I think what's gonna happen is Colorado's gonna receive the ball first, and they're going to have a 3-and-out followed by a BYU field goal, which will start to make CU fans nervous. I think after that, Colorado will have a few more drives that flame out around the 40 to 30 yard line on the BYU side of things. Then it'll be halftime. I think BYU will be up 10-3 at halftime after they have one drive that has a broken run that leads to a touchdown, an easy touchdown, and Colorado just doesn't get anything going. Around halftime, they're going to enter, and it'll be an offensive explosion on both sides. I think Colorado's going to score on every drive. After the second half bell, I think Colorado's going to score at least 35 points in the second half, and I think BYU is going to score, I'm going to say 21 points in the second half, leading to a final score of 38-31.
There you go. You don't need to watch the game anymore. Jack just told you what's going to happen. Jack just told you what's going to happen. Well, you can sleep.
You're done.
Go to bed early, get some rest, get rested up for a big NFL Sunday. Go Vikings. Okay.
Oh, who cares?
Who cares, boo? Well, the Broncos play right before us, so you can't even watch the Broncos. But yeah, I like. I think I like the 3-and-out prediction to start, and then I'm gonna go. We go 3-and-out, and then we score on every drive except for like 2, in some capacity. I think they're gonna slow start. This is Colorado. You're going to go 3-and-out. They're going to make a sweat.
I like how we both are just like, well, it's Colorado, so.
It's Colorado. They're going to make a sweat for probably about 7 minutes a game clock at least. We're going to be sweating bullets. And then after those 7 minutes, we're going to be A-okay. That's my prediction. Final score-wise, I'll go 41-28. Colorado wins. I think everything's going to be firing on all cylinders. They're going to be wanting to put up tape. So there's going to be a lot of big plays. They're going to take some chances. I think those chances will be probably rewarded just with what I've seen from BYU's defense, as long as Shedeur can be accurate and read coverages, which he has proven that he's very good at. We're going to be A-okay. Player of the game prediction, I'm assuming we're both going to say Jimmy Horn, so Jimmy Horn's banned.
Okay. So you're saying I can't say Jimmy Horn or the band? Great joke again, me.
Jimmy Horn is banned because we can't. That's the easy answer, and I can't make it too easy for you.
Yeah, no, I'll let you go first because I went first the last time, man.
Okay. Savell Smalls. No, just kidding.
That would be, if you call that shot, you should find a new profession because that'd be incredible.
They need to Vegas hire me. I'll go Will Shepherd. I'll go Will Shepherd. I think that Will Shepherd, there's still question marks and there's still a need to put up more tape. I think that him and Shedeur have been absolutely automatic on that back right corner fade where he throws that moon ball, one-handed catch.
Yep.
I think that we're going to see that twice.
Yep.
I think that that's something that they're going to completely exploit, and I would expect to see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Colton Hood picking off Retzlaff twice.
Okay.
And then on offense, I'm gonna go with Isaiah Augustov.
Okay.
Just because I don't know, I want him to do it. So there you go.
If he plays,
is he hurt?
Dragon? I think so. Augustov. We talked. I mentioned this earlier, but he's listed in italics on the depth chart.
So I guess I thought he was questionable but playing. Does that mean he's just not?
He might be. He might. Well, no. We don't know if he's playing or not. It's just he's questionable.
Okay. Well, in that case, let's go with Micah Welch.
Okay. Shout out Micah. I guess I'll go defensive because you picked defense. We're snaking back.
Snake draft.
I'll go Levanta Bentley. I think that Levanta Bentley is for sure going to have to step up, and there will be an increased workload without Nikai Hill-Green. I think he's going to have to be a rock-solid force across the middle of the field. BYU, they have some pretty speedy guys who like to kind of exploit man coverage or try to exploit man coverage and get across the middle to move chains. Like Parker Kingston, that name comes to mind. So I think that they're going to need to rely on Bentley to kind of stand firm there and just lay the wood. Like, that's something that I could totally see going on. So we're all in consensus, and by all I mean all two of us, that we're in consensus that Colorado's going to win this game.
Yep.
Colorado's going to cover the spread.
Yep.
And that we're going to be happy campers, and we're going to break the Alamo Bowl curse, I would say, because not awesome history between CU and Alamo Bowl, 0-3, and there's been some pretty tough ones. If you say the name Mason Rudolph or Bijan Robinson, it sends shivers down my spine. So I'm hoping
James
for not
Washington, shout out, dude. Shout out to James.
Not fun. Not fun. But the Alamo Bowl curse is going to be broken. I think that's it from us. Am I forgetting anything?
No, I don't think so. Off-season also in full swing, as is a surprisingly successful basketball season so far. Conference play kicks off next week. Or I think during the Alamo Bowl, right, is the Iowa State game. So if you're able to screen it, go ahead.
I don't think so. I think that's the 30th is the Iowa State game. So I think we get about 48 hours to digest what we're about to see before Iowa State comes. We need to do a basketball podcast. I gotta text Sam. We gotta get on here and talk about basketball.
Yeah, I don't know how Sam has gotten away with what he's gotten away with, but he has. So yes, we do. I agree.
There's a lot of hoops to talk. It's been a fun season. It's a fun team.
Yeah, dude.
The transfers are so fun. Bang Got Dak is fun. Asan Jop is awesome.
Dude,
Harrison Carrington looks surprisingly awesome. Like,
I did not have Jop having almost $20 on my bingo card anywhere, or 20 points. I mean, this year. Period.
I know he can shoot the damn. Rock.
I don't know where that came, but that was amazing.
They just gave him space. They were like, well, he's not going to shoot the basket. He's not going to shoot the rock because he hasn't this season. So, who was it? It was Bellarmine. Was like.
I have never once heard that pronunciation.
I heard it for the first time today. Bellarmine is, I think, how it's. Is
that actually right? Is that right?
I heard somebody today, a media member, so I won't call them out by name because I don't want to. If they're wrong, I don't want to flame them. But I heard we'll say a trusted, reliable media member call them Bellarmine.
All right, thanks, Brian Howell.
It was not Brian. I'll tell you, it was not Brian. It was not Brian.
Okay. All right. Well,
but they gave him space, and he was drilling shots. So good for them. We got to talk about attendance too. That's another thing we got to talk about.
Do we? I think Dad's doing it for us.
I know we were just sitting there like.
Wait, yeah, that was a new one for me. But whatever, but he's
not wrong. He's totally not wrong.
I think it would be very demoralizing as the coach of the only athletic program that carried this department for about 10 years to watch half of your crowd leave once the football players leave. I think that would piss me off too. So I would be very mad.
And this is a fun team. Show up and support basketball, please. I'm asking everyone, all 3 people in this in this podcast right now, go and support basketball. They're a damn fun team, and I think they're gonna have a surprising season in the Big 12. Successful? Who knows? But I'll say they'll surprise some folks in a good way.
I hope so. Yeah. They definitely, in this Big 12 with the UConn win looking better and better, just win a little bit less than you lose, and you're probably in the tournament. So we'll see if they can do that.
I mean, stack 2, 3, maybe even 4 more Q1 wins, and you're dancing. You're dancing. You may not even get shipped to Dayton like you did last year. Who knows? So, yeah, fun.
All right,
fun
that's all I got.
That's all I got. Let me do podcast business. Awesome content coming down the pipeline for the game. There's already some good stories up right now. I wrote up 5 matchups to watch ahead of the game. I talked a little bit about it in here, but there's a couple more pieces. Like I talk about DJ McKinney in his role that he's going to have to play in the game. What else did I talk about? I don't even remember. But go read that. We have a preview and players to watch and situations to watch game or story up on Ralphie Report. There's going to be some more stuff coming down the pipeline over the next 24 hours. Check it all out. Never been a better time to check out Ralphie Report. Make sure you're following us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Ralphie Report. We're going to be posting a bunch of stuff. I already have been over the next 24 hours. Just San Antonio updates. If you couldn't make it out to Central Texas for the game, live vicariously through us. We'll do a good job in keeping you updated. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one, man.
It's gonna be a fun one. I'm excited. Make it out
there, and always fun to cover those games in person. So I hope you have a good time.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Well, whoever came in, stopped in, thanks for listening. Let's go beat the hell out of BYU. Sco Buffs. Thanks, y'all.
Sco Buffs. See ya.